You know, this episode is gonna be crazy when I have to remake the whole thing. Because in the end, I realized that, yes, I am completely correct. This is an anomaly, and it exposes how cheesy the YouTube system actually is. We're even talking about quantum mechanics, guys. How smart can we possibly get at this point? Wave function collapse must be like the craziest thing you can learn in programming, isn't it? And this is being told by like the smartest guy because he got 1,000,000 views, right? No, and he doesn't even deserve the amount of subscribers he has. This guy did it way better. And I bet $100 right now he has more than 3 videos uploaded. He has 9 video. Well, what it is, it's a much smarter guy than this guy. But people gravitate toward this and not this. Question mark? Is smart not equal good? Now, from the very beginning, you can tell where the manipulation tactic is in comparison to this. Still, wave function gets 700,000 views. The bro is competing and actually outtaken this guy with subscribers. His video is way better than this. I would say this is pretty garbage. So the question is, what is so revolutionary? What do you learn? He's even saying goodbye to voxels. Like, it must be revolutionary. Goodbye to voxels and welcome into whatever this is. I want to like compare the introductions. It's probably going to be more
Sudoku,
flat.
a game played on a 9x9 grid.
So first step is to show that he's working on something interesting. I have to mimic the cheater. This is the latest thing I'm working on. Simple game, right? It's still a collapse of tiles. It's not easy to find all the tiles in the most efficient manner when you do it all yourself. What's this over there? Well, it's going to be very useful because if you can see, there's a incline. So it's made out of polygons, right? No, it's blocks. It's blocks, guys. You thought it's polygons? It's not even I ray traced this shit. Technically, it's a polygon, but it's done through ray tracing. I can see things because I shoot rays. It's like one of those infinite detail engines that also allows me to do this shading very easily. Cool, right? Not related to anything, but maybe I can learn something from the waveform thing. Look, it even has modules. Isn't that crazy? What is the conclusion I made in the end of the video? Just use noise, and you'll be better off. And then find patterns that you like. You just fucking use Minecraft. Literally, bro is saying goodbye to voxels, but isn't actually talking about voxels. He just saw a project, basically, that talks about waveform. Like, yeah, that one looked advanced, but he doesn't seem to adopt the mechanic at all. He's literally cheesing us with the possibilities. It is the most hightail bullshit ever. Alright? This is what people are being teased by. They even watch this part because it's on a thumbnail.
Gabriel, you build these little towns. That's it.
It's like, wow, how the fuck did this guy do that? Man, this looks like a lot of work, and it looks pretty good, right? We don't know. We don't know anything about this. There's no commentary being done on this. And that's where I begin. The quest for IQ reduction. We always start with 200 because we want to give the full extent of possibilities. But the bro doesn't even talk about what is on the thumbnail, does not even like go in depth, and doesn't adopt much about it at all. Like, yeah, this might just be like super duper complicated thing, but it requires you to explain what's going on. And can you get even like 5% of this? Because this looks completely different than just looking at fucking 2D map populated. It's pretty much 2D basically. 2D, 3D map just populated with trash. You know, and the waveform is technically that things transition from one thing to the other, which is not exactly happening here either. It's like, yeah, you go from one elevation to the other elevation. Who would have thought, man? How is that? How crazy is that? That's... I don't even see the waveform, guys. The only thing you can see is like the big tree goes into a small tree, maybe. Like, you don't even actually see the damn thing he's explaining. In the end of the video, you don't actually see the thing.
I'll go into technical details about how wave function.
But he will explain it in the next fucking video, guys. Technical details, absolutely. He did manage to generate something. It works for him, I guess. Doesn't look like a bad terrain to me. This whole time I thought we're gonna have sand, but it's just like a little outline for a beach. Or where's the fucking sand then? So there's not a lot of transitions going on. There's not a lot of wave function inside this thing that he created. Million views. Bro. I have only gotten, in my channel career, drum rolls please, yes, I am a jelly boy, this many views. Not even 200,000, boys. This is the magical Mr. Beastification of YouTube. It's so bad that it literally looks like cheese. When I actually want to interact with a community, with commenters who would actually type in a comment and receive a reply, that's too much to ask. But when you just upload a bunch of fucking slop and disappear, you become a viral sensation, and YouTube loves you tremendously. It's gotta be like, I don't know, a magician. I don't know how to perform these tricks, bro. I don't know how to appeal to the algorithm because it doesn't have obvious rules. Besides, people have to like you, and so I can't do that one. That one is impossible to me. No one's gonna fucking like me. I'm smarter than them. Do you I am smarter! That's pretty fucking dangerous for them. They should run away. Right away, bro. Unless they are nice and kind and have something to say. Otherwise, they should run. And the algorithm does not like smart people. Yeah. You don't get it? You don't get how this works? As long as smart people are slaves and just tell you a story and just move on with their lives with a high level of editing. And that every video basically looks like one of those. But this one looks very different, my friends.
Names. But I'm a behavioral scientist, so I wanted something that would...
He's spoiling the fucking aces. He's teaching you the YouTube algorithm of you have to introduce yourself as behavioral scientist. Like the most fucking highest quality super science man. I fucking hate science. Why? Why do I hate science? Because it's linked with cheating even more. It's literally what it is. I'll give you the best example of what it is. If someone claims to be a scientist, you will ascribe intelligence for them for free. You will give them free intelligence. You will bow down to them and suck their toes, bro. But the reality is they are just observing the world. They are not solving problems. They are just observing what happens when you do this and that. Behavioral scientist is like, what if I What if I throw a rock at you? What are you gonna do? What's gonna be your behavior? Literally that. That's how stupid. I can throw a rock at you and I can claim to be behavioral scientist. The range is insane of ability to cheat. When he says he's behavioral scientist, where's the backing of like, oh yeah, you look at insects. And technically, behavioral scientist is actually my favorite scientist. I can't even hate the guy. I would also just inspect how ants behave, you know? Because that's the thing that I watched on TikTok. Some dude pulls out piece of meat, cuts the piece of meat, put it to the ants and gets a time lapse of ants dragging the meat. That's bee booping. Just poking bees, basically. Don't try this at home. This is retardation. Oh my fucking god. You think that guy has IQ levels that can match my fucking little pinky finger? You know? My pinky finger has done more fucking life achievements than he did. Fucking poking bees to see if it stings or not. Like, what the fucking... that's what we got, bro. Behavioral scientist.
Work
Let's
for
fucking go.
behavior simulations too.
That's just funny. It's so funny, guys. And he's doing all these simulations. He's like super smart. I'm genuinely trying to provide something to the world that like would fix a problem. Right? At least I want to fix my own problems. I'm in a more advanced bracket and I get to see this insanity unfold. There is one silver lining to this, that I can actually expose these freaks and get something out of it. Can I get a clicky, please? I will betray you. I do upload very often, guys. People hate that shit. Alright, people hate it. What can I do? And my videos have lower quality. But it's not the video quality that matters when it comes to being smart. The reason why I have esteem for my channel is I bring up topics. You are the one who can participate. Like, if you want to participate, you will still end up writing comments. It's still going to be a low-quality fucking performance. Behavioral science will inspect every move that you make. I swear, guys. And I will make a reply based on your behavior in the comments. I do hater booping as well. Get on my level, bitch.
In Unity, like voids,
So, no, he did not trick me
ability
this
AI,
time.
and kinesis. And let me know in the comments what this kind of thing, and let me know in the comments what kind of simulations.
He does not wait. He does not fucking wait. He asks for subscribers within 30 seconds. Now, he doesn't actually provide anything at all besides the next follow-up video. But he literally asks for subscribers. Hey guys, let me know what simulations do you like for me to talk about? Because I will definitely talk about them. You literally have to tickle their fancy. It's gonna happen, guys. It's the videos, they're gonna be pumping. You're gonna be so entertained. So let me know, guys. Like, you really exist, and I really want to interact with you guys in the most entertaining way. But the question is all of this niceness and glossiness actually translates to anything at all, dude? Fucking hell, dude. It does not. It doesn't. And you have rewarded a cheater yet again instead of anyone who does anything actually. Wow, isn't that crazy? And that's the entirety of YouTube ecosystem. I just picked a little branch of the shit that people did. The way that we have ended up doing this, where someone can literally spit me in the face with one video. And it's like, are you smarter? Are you better? Where's this coming from? Have you taught anyone anything? No? What stats have you improved on top of me that I have to improve? I have to. You know, where is that? If there is no stat that I can improve to achieve the same results, then we have been cheated. Now, there is one stat. I can start spamming 10-minute videos. Yeah, that's the only thing I can do. Because as you can see, I have restrained myself from doing that one thing. I have a different channel for that, and it's, you know, people hate me just as much. So it's not growing, it's not doing anything. Unfortunately, I'm too confrontational. I just want answers, guys. Is that too much to ask? Just an answer to the question, because there's limited amount of space on YouTube, and if people stop asking questions, we will suffocate. When I realized that I made the fastest sorting algorithm, I thought I changed the world. I thought I was gonna be world famous, get $1 million, and live happily ever after. What actually happened? Cognitive dissonance happened. This is the sentiment of the haters. That's actually impossible. You couldn't have done that because it has been proven that this is literally impossible. The cognitive dissonance has been established. Someone has created a lie so big, so juicy, that people think sorting algorithms cannot be faster anymore. That this is game over. I can't believe that. How did you fall for that trick? How are you that stupid? And yet, because you fall for a trick, you're hurting smart people, you're hurting people who are actually achieving things. Because you believe in some kind of proof for something, it disproves so many other things for you. See, the point of sorting algorithm is not to just swap elements around. Yeah, there's a certain amount of swaps you have to make until you get to the right solution, but swapping is not the only way to sort things. If you pick up a deck of cards, pick up a deck of cards, bro, and shuffle it, right? Shuffle deck of cards. Are you really gonna just swap the fucking element? Are you that stupid? You just keep swapping elements. And the theorem says, well, if you just swap elements, then there's this limit to the worst possible configuration as well. It's an additional problem. It's the worst configuration, but let's not talk about it. You know, worst case scenario happens, and then the theorem shows up of like, I told you, if this would happen, there's no better way to sort. I have to do this and move on. I can't just linger and keep trying to tell people that they're stupid. I don't have an application for a sorting algorithm. I don't need it. But it's being used in like big applications. If we make things 2 times faster, it's very likely that many websites are going to be faster, including YouTube itself would be faster at serving you videos because it finds things faster, it sorts things faster, right? It is hard to tell how the world would actually change if they learned about my algorithm, but people just decide that I'm a fucking asshole and that I didn't do the thing that I did, even though they can't even test the damn thing. They can only talk about it with their cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is called just yapping. If you're not smart, if you're not smarter than me, then maybe just yapping is not exactly what I want from you. You know, if you just here to yap, yes, okay, just tell the algorithm you like yapping or whatever. But don't be an asshole, at least. Let's continue watching.
In the past, working on procedural voxel terrain, voxels, marching cubes, There were challenges. First attempts at marching cubes terrain. No, other times... Well, okay, I know what I'm going for.
Now, I grant him that he shows all of his work, that everything that he's doing is condensed. And this is one of those tricks that I can't do without editing, without collection of things, without actually sorting my entire collection of everything I have. It is the power of editing, and it could tenfold my videos, or even hundredfold. Obviously, welcome to capitalism, where if you don't have money, and you can't hire a person to do your thing, if you don't know how to do that, then fuck you, bro, basically. And money still makes money. Money makes more money. So if you can hire a person, you earn more money. Because you spent money hiring a person. Now, you still have to do that. You still have to push yourself to do that. And do it successfully. But the moment editor shows up in my life, maybe it works out. Maybe we get tenfold the views. I just don't know, man. See, when it comes to editing videos, if you're specialized at something, you can do a job. You don't have to think about ideas. You don't have to think about self-expression and how you are perceived by the public. You're just a middleman carrying the flag. There's not much responsibility. If you don't want responsibility, it's wonderful news. I want to pick up skills in life. I want to be smart. That's a big-ass responsibility. Alright, and I extend in every direction imaginable. What ends up happening is that drama is the driving force of eyeballs. Like, people want to hear your opinion. And want to attack your opinion at the same time. They're not gonna stop just by accepting your opinion. No fucking way, dude. I thought YouTube was cheesy enough to promote drama only on the platform. But, you know, you have shit like this, where, like, I'm supposed to be smart in this area, but as long as I don't provide crazy introductions, we are screwed. My channel is screwed, guys.
No, not this wave function collapse. 2D textures from input
Yeah, look at that. He instantly talks about not this wave function collapse, about quantum mechanics.
function collapse. This wave function collapse.
So we just, like, reduced IQ points because apparently there's a conflicting terminology happening. Like, what? So what is the quantum physics version?
From input or generate 3D worlds from modules. The text I'm also using a pixel art shader on the characters. While I was working on this, I got really distracted by art style and gaps between adjacent blocks. At first, I tried a custom extruded version. Didn't want to use voxels.
Well, yeah. Voxels are pretty scary. You need to do a lot of culling, a lot of optimization, which ends up to another point. So you saw the ray tracing that I was performing, right? You understand what ray tracing is. And how my engine is not only not finished, it will be 100 times more impressive when I have the time to work on it. Again, I can open up work directions, but I can never finish my work. So why is ray tracing so impressive? There's no culling. No culling here. You see what you see. Those objects are displaying everything they need to display. There's nothing appearing, disappearing. This level of detail, of course, you still need that. But, because you want to have finite amount of objects at any given time. But you don't need to call anything. So it solves literally his problem. I'm just better than him. I'm built different, bro. Oops. Again, I always have hope that something will go viral. Some video will go viral. People will care about something. But when it comes to, like, an individual deciding for something to go viral, like, that's an impossible task. I need a shout out from a YouTuber. That's the only way I can actually achieve virality. I need to genuinely impress someone. This is pretty good though. Pixel shading kind of looks crazy.
Well, here I am again. Let me tell you a little bit about marching cubes.
It was so much work. And it goes with
A
marching
3D grid of
cubes.
voxels.
The funny thing is, marching cubes have barely anything to do with the video because what you see doesn't, like, he kind of runs away from that concept. But he worked very hard on it, basically. This is marching cubes somehow. I do love the code reveal. Oops. Ugly code. The only thing in need of collapse is this code right there. The crazy thing about programming is as long as you do programming in a smart way, you will not need to code that many lines. That's it. There's no like cases. You just have to do the smart thing. So I technically am doing the smart thing of just placing blocks the way I want to place blocks, and I probably will find even greater ways. I will show you guys the voxile. You guys didn't check my video on voxile, my main channel viewers, because it looks like the thumbnail looks like ass. This is how it actually looks like. This is also ray traced. The first game I've ever played that's actually ray traced, and it runs pretty well. Not smoothly, but runs pretty well. Like, there's not going to be lag spikes because nothing is actually being loaded besides LOD. Alright? It was an amazing experience playing this, and I can tell you this is the future. 100%, hands down, this is the future of gaming. This is how you're going to be making games. This is a lot easier to construct. The models, the buildings, everything is destructible. You get the idea. It's Minecraft on steroids. Alright? Except this engine can probably be improved just a little bit more. Alright? And I loved it. It's still basically one guy working for like 3 years and achieving this. You gotta grab it, you gotta play this. I swear. You won't be disappointed.
Divide.
Yeah, so if you show me repeating coda and it looks very repetitive, then I know that you don't have high IQ. You just don't.
Especially if I don't show the open voxels, to place a cube everywhere there's a solid voxel. This is the voxel approach used by Minecraft. It's nice, but you can really only get cubic shapes. Of 8 voxels, 1 in each corner. Remember, the open voxels are the cell to separate the solid and open.
Doesn't seem like a very complicated algorithm. You just fill in the space based on the elevation. So you take this 8-point grid and then, wow, there's this elevation right here. So you should just do that, right? Does it do that though? Yeah. Yes, it does. Except he kind of cut off. Like, are you really doing marching cubes? Because that's literally the shape. And then this would be the shape. You take this corner, connect it like this, but then he used half of it, and it just cringes my brain. I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. Like, it should have went all the way up. And then marching cubes don't look so fucking intimidating and complicated. But he did it complicated. And I still don't recommend doing this when now there's ray tracing. Like, where's this cube coming from? Excuse me? I thought Cube was gonna use these points.
Mesh to cover the 4 bottom voxels, and this process continues.
Like, it actually contains these shapes? It contains half of grass? No fucking way, dude. Then it also has to check the neighbors or something. Like, I don't get it. Like, why would you do that? And you still get the same fucking result. You get the same exact thing, and he checked like fucking 3 times more things, or 4 times more things. See, like, something that is seemingly a smart video, behind the scenes, right in front of your face, is literally flat Earth. You know? It's fucking flat Earth right there. It's being talked as a round Earth, but in actuality, guys, nah, it's still flat. It's a terrible analogy because I am a flat earther, so I do be liking exposing bullshit.
At the time, I was really into Legend of Zelda.
I love when he says, at the time I was like into this thing. And that's why he disappeared from YouTube. Alright? Because he's just impulsive little bitch.
Legend of Zelda. I like the fun little project, as one often does. And at the time, I was really into pixel art and classic top-down games like Legend of Zelda.
But after 2 years, he stopped being into it. And just, I guess, stopped working on it. Well, I was just gonna be behavior scientist for the rest of his life. Jesus Christ, man. While I investigated his behavior. So, he didn't actually achieve anything special here. I mean, I guess it looks better with shading, somehow. When it's like rounded edges. Right? I don't know. Looks kind of stupid.
Beveled shapes.
Beveled.
Eventually, with my version of the algorithm, I was able to what I wanted. But I still didn't like it. It was weeks of work, and I regret all of it.
Yay.
I just didn't like different styles, but texturing is one area where texturing is
Bro, you tried this style, and I just fell in love immediately. This looks fucking awesome. I wish we had this style forever. He even added pixelation for the trees. You know, it looks like it's genuinely hard work to make these, but no, it's just pixelated trees. It's crazy. I like the mushroom, though.
really what I wanted. And I was frustrated. And you can follow me there too.
Don't get me wrong. I might learn a thing about how to cheat in YouTube.
The creators of Phantom Brigade buildings that I really like. Things. Link in the description. They create 3D, but because they create the meshes by hand in a 3D modeling program,
It is fairly simple. Okay, like if you played Trackmania, you know how like things come together. You have to play Trackmania and build your own track. And then it's like, how do these things just like... They're supposed to have the same connections, basically. And technically, this window has the same connection to the wall. They first create walls, and then they texture it on top with nice little model thingies. That's all I'm seeing. Yeah, there would be called sockets when these walls come together with each other, and then the socket on top of this to socket into a wall, so it has a window and whatnot. Who would have thought that everything would be Legos anyways, you know? I'm not sure what ray tracing is gonna allow us to do. So I really wanted to like, hey people, does anyone want to interact with me and go into the world of ray tracing? Is anyone like traveling to find like innovative things in reality? No? Just no one cares? Because I don't know if we need all of this at all, but like module things are important. You need to at least put a window where the window goes, you know?
the rules at all lapse.
I do like that this guy has visualized things in a very coherent way, except the marching cubes thing, that was an absolute fucking failure.
But
It just shows that there is a reason to cheat, there's a reason to go across the landscape of people doing research and finding this stuff. And potentially YouTube is going to recommend more of videos like this because I'm spamming this one. Spamming. It will think I am only watching waveform collapses all the time. It's the only thing I watch on YouTube.
because they create the use.
Imagine all the recommendations I will get right now.
And I start wave function collapse is used to generate these cute little islands like you would get from marching cubes. Here's how wave function collapse works.
Skip to the part where you show everything. Technically, this is just a slope down from the trees into the water. You can transition from water into grass sometimes. You want to transition into sand instead. You can't transition from grass to big trees. You might want to start with small trees first. You cannot put trees on top of sand. You have to transition into grass first, and so on. These are simply constraints. He actually explains that way, that these are, well, constraints. And the funny thing is, nobody fucking needed wave function collapse ever when they were building like voxel terrain and all that shit. Noise is just good enough. Noise does the same thing. Now, obviously, we're talking about Perlin noise. We're talking about like these bumpy, wavy things. But because it transitions from one thing to the other, it can establish a very smooth transition. Now, it does have to be smooth and does have to double check that it follows the rules, basically. That you are not placing trees inside water. That's it. That there's no like super slope. And even if there is, you might have a unique solution for the, problem. If we have like a really crazy slope, maybe there can be a cliff. Instead of sand, you can have a cliff, and then you can still have trees right next to the cliff anyways. Because why the fuck not? Why can't you have trees next to a cliff? Let's see if we can find cliffs with trees in them. Probably it's impossible. But it just feels possible to me. Like, this feels like it has some kind of tree up there, but it's not big. Huh. Okay, maybe we're fucked. Maybe trees don't like cliffs, because they can't root. And cliffs may be, like, hardened or something. Alright. I'll concede on this one. So all you're doing is just, like, figuring out the rules that something doesn't match, and you just clean up the things that don't seem to make sense. And then you'll have terrain. Just like you randomize everything, you clean up shit that doesn't make sense. You use a little bit of wave function to make sure that adjacent things also make sense, I guess, that it's transitioning properly. But this alone, I just don't see it actually generating proper terrain. This does look good. I just told you there's not much transition going on. There's not much of a wave collapse that he's describing. There's something else going on. It's more like clustering that he's mentioning.
Be a cell with a small domain. Each time we collapse a cell, we propagate the new constraints to adjacent cells.
The way he says it, I can't understand anything at all. And that's not the problem of me having low IQ. To be able to explain things is the high IQ performance. He's using a lot of, like, complicated language and just plays the fucking grass. Wow. To the new domain. Congratulations, bro. You gotta love how he uses blue to not place water. In the blue cells, grass, little trees, big trees, sand are allowed, but not water. It's a blue fucking tile, bro. At least do the yellow tile, because sand is like the furthest away thing that you can get. It's what? But yeah, this is what is allowed. Like, you would just randomize a terrain and you double check that only things that are allowed are happening. The funny thing is, I've learned absolutely nothing. But when I switched to watch this video, things have changed instantly. Instantly, we're now interacting with the smart person who started the video in a smart way. He's talking about Sudoku. And Sudoku happens to collapse. The solutions start to collapse. How did they start to collapse? Like this. This is all the possibilities, right? And there are cells, basically, that are about to collapse. They will have no other possibilities but just one. And having one possibility means that you have collapsed into that possibility. Now the game has to keep track of all the cells because they're interconnected, but you can understand how like constraints collapse things into a terrain or anything that's made out of modules, I guess.
The lowest number of remain, or to put it another
Now they call it entropy.
way, we want to find the cell with the lowest entropy and collapse it to a
what the lowest entropy? Like shut the fuck up. No. Fucking possible states. I'm not adopting entropy as my word, guys. Maybe priority, because you have to take care of things that are about to collapse.
low entropy cells is that there are fewer states left to choose from, and so it's less likely that we'll make a bad choice. We'll continue this collapsing.
Yes, it's all about not making a bad choice, guys. Because God forbid these tiles colored themselves red and tell you that there's a conflict of interest, that you are not satisfying the rules anymore, and Sudoku is literally illegal. I have never seen that a way of like making Sudoku. You know, I've never seen it before. I tried to make Sudoku myself, and I failed miserably, because you have to keep track of so many things all at once. Things are constantly collapsing the moment you make just a few choices. I'm a little bit scared that even this does not tell you the full story, but hopefully it's good enough to make any type of Sudoku you want, which is like amazing. Like at the start of the video we get this street, like are you fucking kidding me? With this guy we get the I am behavioral scientist. Oh, I forgot one of these. I've been a naughty little boy. This is a traumatic experience. I don't think he can recover easily from that one. Also, it just shows that there's a person who is like literally 3 times smarter than him. And actually prioritized the correct things. He waveform collapsed his video to deliver us the best shit ever. You know? At the start. Where it matters.
The lowest, the wave function.
Oh, you thought it was gonna be just Sudoku.
Each potential state
Bitch,
for a
please, all the possible states,
cell,
guys.
let's call it, only allow these tiles north of it, these to the east, in the
Alright, it looks a little complicated, but there's like 4 tiles over here. There's all 4 possibilities. And 4 tiles over here. So, the moment you choose certain tiles, you have to actually collapse them. So let's say I choose like water over here, and like I want a path over here or whatever, just a few trees over here, but I want to see and make a scan basically to make sure that everything is proper after I've done it. And I can continue adding things too, but this is why it also feels like a collapse, because it's a collapse to make sure that everything is functional. There's a proper transition between like water and some kind of special biome that does not contain water. Or maybe it would prefer to freeze water instead, right? In this particular thing, it's a lot more straightforward, because there's literally walls that have to follow these constraints. But yeah, like you accidentally place a tree here and you have to remove it. Or you have to remove the water. You have to also choose which way to go.
Sudoku puzzle, the wave function among all cells, and collapse it to instances of this collapse to other cells. For example, A was selected, we know that the superposition of the cell
Look at that superposition, boys.
immediately to the east of the collapsed sabers of tile A.
Yeah, you have to escape the cave first in order to be able to place any other tile. When you choose to be inside a cave, you have to collapse everything around it so the cave like is fully closed out and we can transition into other biomes or whatever. Like that's it. Do we learn anything else? There's these sockets, right? The funny thing about sockets is you can still place a wall, right? Like what prevents me from placing a wall? You just have to cover this. You must cover this. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. But you can extrude a little bit if you want, as long as the other side does not have a socket, which makes things, you know, make me question what the fuck are sockets? Kind of stupid in the end. Sockets is the problem that rises when you start calling all these polygons that you don't want to see. And it's like, yeah, you have a shitty rendering system, don't you guys? Womp womp. But you don't want to transition into ray tracing, do you? You don't want to be smart yet. You don't want the fastest sorting algorithm. You don't want innovation, my friends. You just want AI. Because AI is such a high-level innovation, it literally is uncontainable. It's so fucking powerful. And technically, AI can actually generate better terrain now than any of us ever. You can probably even generate better than this shit. And better than this. And in more complex tiles. Did I stutter? Blocky. And now you just like, you take this picture and you make terrain out of it. You use AI to get a picture of your upcoming terrain. I would still prefer if it wasn't just like an artistic picture, and it would actually make more sense for like translating. Because it's trying to do the isometric thing. Literally the only thing that's missing is just me placing a player, me translating these into actual blocks in the world, adding lighting, most importantly. Or just specializing AI to give me much more clear picture. And then we don't even have to talk about this fucking shit collapse because someone else did it already. We don't even have to think about it anymore. It's crazy.
Interesting. And I like how the flowers turn
I do like the pathways, bro.
out. Here that clump the flowers and weeds together, but don't
Yes, clump.
group those with the trees. That's the kind of thing you can't do with marching cubes.
So Indiana wasn't really impressed. I was just like interested. And I don't know, maybe I'm the problem as well. Interested? You wanted to hear the full story. Well, I'm a curious man. I tend to be interested in things. Unlike other people. Lucky for me, they actually watched longer than 2 minutes. Congratulations. You definitely need applause for that. No laughing applause. The real one. It's 50 people slapping each other in the face.
Video, I'm going to discuss the technical details of a wave function collapse algorithm, and collapse and model synthesis are about constraint satisfaction. Up quite a bit in games, especially puzzle games.
Especially puzzle games? Literally, the only example I can think of is Sudoku. Like, if we're talking about terrain, then that's where the constraints are. Where you cannot place a tree on top of my ass. Because it doesn't know where to root. Oh shit, look at that. There's another constrained game, right? Clearly.
That may contain that involves constraints. You're given a grid of cells that may contain mines. Initially, you only know how many mines are present, but not where they are. Clicking on a hopefully empty cell will reveal its content.
Like, I don't understand, how is this constrained thing? Constraint solving. I technically do, but...
And will also reveal all connected.
Alright, so constraints, there's a mine over here, but because this sees a mine, right? And this sees this mine, so we cannot see mine over here. Alright? Is that constrained? It doesn't, like, seem like a constraint to me. But you satisfy this constraint of, like, there has to be a mine over here, and this one sees mine over here. You satisfy this constraint so you can open up a new tile. I guess that makes some sense.
Cells with numbers show a constraint. This number indicates how many mines are found in adjacent cells. With this information, you can start to determine which cells contain mines. I'm pretty sure this top cell doesn't contain a mine. And maybe this one doesn't either. If you're like me, when I was a kid, I used to play this on ultra easy mode, on a big grid with just a few mines. So one click and hey, I'm so good.
No, I guess I was never a kid then. See, this is where he reveals that he's a cheater. That's the magical moment. He likes to win, so he's gonna, like, reduce the amount of work he has to do. He just clicks one button and wins the game. And also, some people will be tricked of like, wow, that's spectacular. You actually solved the puzzle with one click. Isn't that crazy, guys? This is the trick being used. I feel that's an actually much better definition of how he cheats YouTube and how many people cheat YouTube than actually talking about waveform collapse, bro.
Look at this. Some constraints. After a guess, you get information on correct
Okay, I'll give him that. There actually is a lot of puzzle
and
games.
incorrect letters. While I'm not intending to program a constraint,
I think this is the most basic puzzle when it comes to constraints that he's mentioning with the turtles, where the turtles don't mix well. Maybe I can give him the idea that you can make some puzzles using constraints, but it's just such a weird idea. It doesn't speak
constraint
volumes
solver
at
tells me
all.
plan.
Then, vivaciously directly a universe.
But you just follow the rules, basically. The rules are constraints. But if you say constraints instead of rules, it sounds smart and very complicated and puts me in an actually tough spot of like, what the fuck are we talking about? Of course, every rule is a constraint. Every problem, when it comes to relationships, is a constraint. That's a more complicated issue. The turtle thing was pretty complicated.
Then, vivaciously.
Because it's the rule as well as constraints that you have to rhyme. That's the fucking point of poetry.
Directly a universe. She did record.
I cannot read poetry to save my life. What the fuck? So bro does not even know how to read.
All narrations end in record. And then, vivaciously directly a universe. She disappears. An atom in the seasons of record.
And finally, this was one of my
Bro has been replaced with AI so quickly. Again, something that looked smart from the very beginning to the end had all these gaps in it, and they accumulated. And I'm like, okay, that's
And then,
innocent.
vivaciously directly a universe. She
And only now I'm reading this line and I'm realizing how fucking stupid this is. I can give you this, guys. Vibes matter. But what matters more on top of that? Trends. If you're a low-level NPC, you're just going to be pulled by trends into whatever supposed to feel the correct answer. This is why everyone fucking hates me, because I'm ahead of trends every single step of the way. Way ahead of trends. Trends don't even touch me. I try to be a part of trends by using drama, basically, to ground myself a little bit.
to find new musical scales. There's actually some science and
Beautiful science, guys.
math behind music, so I really
Smartness.
appreciated this attempt. This sample's from
Another vibe that you can appreciate, maybe, is that a lot of concepts are being brought up in the video very quickly. But at the same time, it's not like I give a fuck about this shit.
on topic. There are links to papers where the goal is often to find the one correct solution. With wave function collapse and model synthesis, the goal is to create any solution that satisfies the constraints.
The goal is to make sure that everything follows the fucking rules. Doesn't break the rules. Constraints, like, what the fuck? See, when he's talking about constraints, he literally misses the point. He can't even put a sentence together properly.
They can produce some more papers released in the following year.
At this point, all you have to do is just slap NPCs with papers and they will fucking collapse. You know, they will wave collapse into thinking that you're so smart. Oh my god, he throw paper. I don't know what to do. I'll just assume that he's smart. That's what your brain does every single time. And this is manipulation. This is a cheat code, bro.
Except when it doesn't.
And then when he shows a fucking picture, it's like, oh wow, a
One of Paul's goals was to
picture.
improve on some of these areas.
Me smart boy.
At the time, Paul was in artificial objects consist of similar, self-repeating components. And perhaps by breaking down objects into these components, instead of just thinking about pixels, we can use these components to procedurally generate new objects in low model synthesis.
That's cool. Alright, this is the coolest thing. That a pillar tends to have a scalable inside. It could also have a property of scale on this. It literally just has properties. Doesn't. I mean, you can put it like this. It's weird to put it like this, but it just has a property like it can scale this way. It can scale potentially the base. It can scale this thing alongside with the base. Basically the thickness. It has properties. Who would have thought, right? Wow. But when you modulize everything, then it's like, okay, you're making Minecraft again, asshole. You can technically replace one module with the other module that looks slightly different, so technically there's some merit in modularizing. But I love how pictures do tend to speak a story. Obviously, he just copied and pasted this picture, my friends. That's the cheat code that you forget to understand.
Reduce the domains of
I can't wait to just, like, copy and paste pictures then. And manipulate, and, paper. A research paper, bro. I can't. I need a whole fucking different channel called behavioral scientist. For real. Because I want to see how you're gonna behave when I throw paper at you, you know? I throw different manipulation tactics. I would literally be behavioral scientist. And it's like, it's crazy that this is what's happening. He kind of cracked YouTube, and it's the most behavioral scientist thing ever. It's almost like he's playing 3D chess.
if you have a
He keeps repeating the same fucking bullshit.
discrete models. This discrete.
Nah, it's a fun little cloud of ideas. If you're looking for ideas, if you're depressed and you don't know what to do with your life, absolutely watch one of these videos. It's gonna be helpful. It might inspire you to work on something. All right. But me as a hard worker, I see this as a petty little video with low IQ implications.
Not a pathfinder.
You're better off just playing Minecraft and minding your own business, while the big boys do all the hard work. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel, remember?
Check out some of his materials for more details.
I don't get it. This one's fucking stupid.
Check out some of his wave.
It's like, wow, look how cool it looks. And then he also doesn't understand how this works. But it doesn't need a grid. Like, of course, you just smash a bunch of random looking buildings together. Of course it doesn't need a grid. That line over here. Like, okay. You just make sure that the building fits.
We will consider this a separate algorithm.
It would be interesting to explore shit like this, right? But it requires work. There are a certain level that I can't reach. I cannot put in 25 hours of work within 24 hours. Everyone is limited by time. And by the time you are inventing something, you're also racing against people who are working together, like 20 people working together, 100, a whole fucking army basically working in these big corporations. Those are the people that are actually winning. We are not winning. We literally need donations. We need pity, support, like that. It's like fighting AAA with a bunch of indie developers. You will never win. GTA 5 will always prevail. GTA 6 will always prevail. Right? There's a part 2 to the story, because I have extended the story. There's a reason why thumbnail has Balatro in it. Like, how is Balatro related to any of this? And it shows my ability to dominate and extend the story. There's one more aspect that touches Minecraft and Balatro. Balatro just happens to be latest successful indie game. Indie versus AAA? That's a pretty cool story, isn't it? I think you would learn a lot more from that than fucking wave collapse.
However,
bullshit.
the overlapping is from the sample, we can determine looks similar to the input, but don't.
Okay. Technically, this picture is supposed to set up rules somehow. Like all the possibilities or whatever. But you just create constraints of like this cannot just become grass. Like, is that not? Or this cannot end without it turning into this tile. And it's like, all we are talking about is just like simple common sense rules being applied to make sure that things are common sense, that the roads are relatively straight. Wow. To understand videos like this, you do have to skip around, and whatever is being shown, hopefully, is the thing that's supposed to make sense. The so-called progress. It is important to generate worlds, and what I mention is Tinder method. You save the worlds that look good, and you might even stitch them together, basically. You need world editor 100% of the time. You need random generation 100% of the time. If you're making anything at all, it is best to just randomly put things together instead of really working your ass off and placing one block at a time. Like, come on, dude. But you could just, like, draw with a pen. And also, please, when you're lower in elevation, can you, like, put a darker shade of green so it's fucking obvious? Does Zelda do that? I don't think even Zelda does that. I don't see that way. It's almost like even more complicated than that. The elevation doesn't even exist. You can go, just cliffs exist, not elevation. That's weird. It's more like it. I would still like separate elevations. It would make more sense. Visually, things have to make sense, no? I'll leave you guys with this. I have, at some point, cheated myself. I don't know exactly what had to come together for this to happen, but people like annoying orange. Maybe people are just babies. You have to tap into the baby market. It's not okay to be smart, my friends. But at the same time, make it serious, you know? It's like, he's still around. Wow, that's true statement. You gotta sound dramatic, I guess. So everything came together here very nicely when everything else feels generic. Otherwise, and I get 0 views. Insane. Shit like this needs to be studied, because it's so annoying. That there's no real fairness to the system. You have to trick people into watching your videos. Plus, it's a shorter video than usual. 25 minutes? Very short in comparison. On my channel, the thing that broke the system is this. But this is actually hard to pull off. Except I did it twice, so I guess it does tend to work. Yeah. Interact with babies. Make baby content. If you don't like drama, make baby content. That's even better. Are you fucking kidding me? Baby content? Oh my fucking god. YouTube is crazy.